double rolling. Rolling.
Rolling.
Rolling down the river.
Rolling down the river.
I love that. We should start a band.
Our new theme song.
Every month during quarantine, we just start a new thing. Just keep adding and adding on to the things that we're doing.
I know. Welcome back, everybody, to Skate Date.
Skate Date.
New week, new wig.
The podcast. New week, new hair. New week, new lipstick.
Oh, yeah.
New week, new glitter.
So welcome to Skate Date.
Welcome to Skate Date. Skate Date is a podcast, and it's just about two cute little roller skaters
that fell in love
and decided to have a baby, but then they couldn't have a baby, so they made a podcast.
Wow. That's our podcast as a baby.
It doesn't keep us up in the middle of the night. Just kidding. It actually does.
It actually does, but only once a week.
Yeah, once a week. So anyways.
We just talk about all things real world and real world.
The real world, yeah.
I'm Courtney Shove.
And I'm Rebel Rouser.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Today we're going to talk all about
voting. Also, don't mind Bowie. He's full mode.
He's full pant mode today.
So welcome. Feels like it's two girls, one pup the whole episode.
But you know what? It's not. It's just, I mean it is, but it's not.
Well, let's get it started.
Yeah, let's get it started. Ha! With a fake ad. Hey everybody, advertisers, organizations, companies, people with things to sell. This is a holder until you sponsor us. So just imagine us giving this much energy and vibrancy to your business.
Energy.
Pace. Vibrance. Beauty.
Horrible acting.
Who cares? It's hilarious.
Did you watch the debates last week?
Yeah, but, they were saying a lot of things that weren't real.
Yeah, I wish there was a way to fact check their bull.
Well, there is. Afterward, you just have to look it up.
Who's gonna take the time to do that? I'm a busy woman. I need to know in the moment what's right and what's not.
Well, lucky for you, there's the bull detector. Put it on your TV or whatever device you are using, and it will tell you if what's being said is real or not.
Wait, will it work on girlfriends?
No, silly. Only on presidential candidates and Karens on Facebook.
Ugh, Karens.
Ugh.
I'm over quarantine because of the China virus.
Bull. Just because the first cases of COVID were in Wuhan, China, doesn't mean it is a China virus. It's coronavirus, COVID-19 specifically.
Did you hear that Trump got corona and now he's immune?
Bull. You can get COVID-19 even after you've already had it.
Masks don't matter. Wear them whenever you want.
Bull. Masks not only help prevent the spread of COVID-19, but also wearing your mask cuts down your own risk by 65%.
COVID's not even a big deal. It's the 19th one. On the back of my Clorox wipes, it even says it protects you from coronavirus.
Bull. Coronavirus is the type of virus. There have been many before this one, some of which cause disease. The newly identified coronavirus is COVID-19 and doesn't have a cure, which means it is a big deal, and swallowing bleach or your wet wipes won't save you.
Thank you, bull detector.
I wish I had a actual bull detector with me to advertise during that commercial, but we can't afford them. They're very expensive. So we had to, do it ourselves.
I know. So can you guess what we're talking about in our real world from our app?
I don't know. Maybe voting?
Voting.
Let's move on to the real world.
Oh my god, babe. Do you remember Rock the Vote?
Yes, I do remember
And it was
Rock the Vote.
Such a big thing, and I feel like, what was that, like when Bush was going to be elected?
It was definitely when Bush was going to be elected, and all the celebrities were in on it.
Yeah, when Bush was like president, that was little Shug's 18-year-old's first time going to a protest. And I went on the metro all by myself, and I was like, we gotta get Bush out of the White House and blah, blah. And I like march, and it was scary, and there were like cops everywhere looking me in the eye. And I was like, this is what it's like to give a damn about what's happening. And it was like, I'm now a political punk.
I love that.
Yeah, I had like my ripped up jeans and my little like, oh my gosh, what did it say? It was like something, the Bush regime, and it was like this whole thing, and I had on like a wanted sign on the shirt with like the whole cabinet and Bush.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like with my little like blue hair, and I was like, yeah, fight the system.
You know what I hear about people with blue hair?
What?
That they're just crazy liberals.
Oh yeah, apparently to our friend Jessie, her husband James, I know I love Jesse James, right? But anyways,
So
was
cute.
told that I could not dye her hair any shade of blue because blue is the color that liberals dye their hair.
Which, James, if you're watching, we love you so much. But we just thought that was so funny.
Yeah, we make that joke all the time. We're like, oh, blue hair must be a liberal.
Must be liberal. I don't even identify with a political party. I just think that's so funny.
Yeah, and I think it was funny that I had blue braids at the time.
At that exact moment, yeah.
Like those lesbians and bisexuals and queers with their blue hair.
Oh, man. Yeah, so when was the first time that you got to vote? Was it then?
So no, because once I was 18, 19, that era was when I was still like coming out of homelessness and had all this stuff going on, so I definitely wasn't registered. And then I was the person that did not vote when it was the first round for Obama. And I remember thinking, because I was too nervous to go, and my dad was like, I can't believe you're not going to vote. Like, you have a black person running for president and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I just didn't know how to register. Like, no one helped me. Like, no one, like, I didn't know what to do. And that was still when, like, new things, like, if someone didn't, like, hold my hand, I was just like, and I still get like that sometimes. But I was just like, I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then I think when I found out, it was too late. And I was like, well, messed that one up.
And it also was before social media was so big.
Yeah.
And I feel like nowadays social media makes it so easy for you to register to vote. And it wasn't like that before.
Definitely. So the second round was when I got to vote, and I was like so freaking excited. I was like, yeah. And then like gung-ho about it. And I was like, made sure I was registered. I got to vote, and it was great. And then the last presidential election, I like voted, even though I knew something. I felt like it was gonna be doomsday. I just felt like I'm gonna vote, but I just had a bad feeling. I feel like we all had a bad feeling, and sure enough, like,
yeah,
Trump won. And I just remember like, yeah, I don't know. You talk about it first, because I want to bring something up. But go ahead and talk about your first time voting.
Yeah. Okay. So my first time voting, I was in the same boat. Like, I didn't really understand what was going on at all. I just kind of knew that I was supposed to vote, and that was like my duty as a citizen and as an American. And that was when I was still like super, super Christian and very, very involved in the church and everything like that. And my parents are actually pastors, so they had a lot of a hold on my life. And so my first experience voting, my mom essentially was like, I got you your ballot. I picked all the people that you're going to vote for. Your job is to go drop this off. Oh, no. It wasn't even dropping off. It was, I took the thing that the election packet that she had marked, and I took it into the voting booth and like clicked all of the things based on what my mom, like I can guess what I voted for, and I could look it up right now and tell you. Mm-hmm. But like, I didn't know what I was voting for. I was just doing what my mom told me to, which I'm so sad about, because I hate that my record isn't like fully what I believe in, but it definitely does show like the change in me as a person.
Definitely. Like, I remember, like, growing up and watching my parents, like, sit in the living room, drinking and smoking cigarettes, but having their little ballots and, like, going over each thing, like, each measure, and, like, everything in Senate and, like, presidents, whatever it was, and saying, like, what are we gonna stand for? Because they didn't want to erase the other one's vote. That's how, like, 'cause I remember it, like, being, like, oh, this is something, like, serious they do, but it was never, like, even though my parents appreciated it, they never really had that full talk with me about, like, how to do it and why it's important. But it was just, like, something I always kind of knew, like, oh, okay, my parents take that, like, seriously, but that was it.
I love voting, and I know that this is, like, a nerdy thing about me, but I love participating in democracy, and I love that I can have a partial say in things that are happening.
Wait. So this is what I wanted to bring up. So let's talk about how when you wanted to vote when we first got together and you went to go vote and then they told you you couldn't.
I had a meltdown. I had a legit meltdown. I cried.
She cried. That's how much she loves.
I love voting. I really do. I love it so much.
I had to talk you off a cliff, babe.
Yeah. Okay, so I always get a mail-in ballot, and the reason why that is because I don't trust that they're going to have my name on that ballot. Like, I have to see my ballot beforehand. Like, literally, my ballot is right here. Like, I have it already. And I know, like, I have it. Like, it's in my hands. And the reason why I started doing that is because actually when I voted not for Trump, I was in the Netherlands. So I was living in the Netherlands for the year. So I had to register to vote from abroad. So I had to learn how to do, like, the whole process from a different country. So I got my materials and everything, but then my actual ballot was missing. And then when I was looking it up, it was like, oh, it's fine. You can just, like, go to the polling place on the day of. And then I went to the polling place on the day of. We got all dressed up, and it was so cute. It was so, like, patriotic and, like, I don't know. It was so, like, housewife of us to both go and, like, be like, and we got, like, our little iced coffee. It was so cute. But yeah, so we got to the place and they were like, your name's not on here. And I was like, but I need to vote. And they were like, well, you got a mail-in ballot. Like, do you have that? And I was like, no, but I have all these numbers and stuff. And they were like, too bad you can fill out this absentee ballot, but, like, there's no guarantee that your vote is going to count. And I just lost my mind because I'm such an advocate for voting and, like, having your voice heard, and, like, not just for the presidential nomination, but also for local measures. You can have so much of a say in local measures, and people don't talk about that as much because it's not as, I don't know, it's not as big of a deal to people.
Yeah, they don't talk about how, like, you vote locally because it's like, I was gonna say, like, a pyramid scheme.
It's voting.
Not that voting is a pyramid scheme. What I'm saying is, yeah, the president's at the top of the pyramid, right? But who's the people that need to, like, fight him and knock down the things he wants to do and, like, listen to the people because we control our local government. Checks and balances. Yeah, exactly. So that's why you have to worry about all these other old people that are falling asleep during all these
things. And it's like state versus federal. You know, like, sometimes state can overcome laws that are federal, and so that's why your local measures matter so much.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just, like, one of those things. Like, it's good to vote, not just for presidents, vote all the time. But
but, like, the end of that story, though, is that I kept checking because you can check a website to see, like, whether your vote counted. And finally, like, I checked the website one day and they were like, your vote counted. And I was like, ah! Like, I was so happy.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, in class this week, last week I was watching the vice presidential debate. Like, I had my little AirPod on and I'm, like, half listening to the teacher because it was like, I've already learned all this within this chapter, and then I'm, like, listening and I'm like, what the heck is happening? Yeah, whatever. One of my classmates was like, oh, like, what is that? What are you, like, watching? And I was, like, telling her, like, oh, the debate. And she was like, oh, yeah, I don't get it. Like, I don't vote. And I was like, oh, I guess you never have the right to complain, or you just don't really care about like what happens to you in the long run. And she was like, yeah, I don't know. I just like, my parents were yelling at me that I need to vote this year, and they yelled at me and blah, blah, blah. And then the teacher was like, well, yeah, you should. And then she goes, yeah, but they're Trump supporters. Like, she whispers it. And then we're like, what? She's like, yeah, well, they're just really Christian. And then the teacher was even like, well, it's not very Christian to vote for Trump now, is it? Like, tell me one Christian thing about him. Also, like, you guys are probably like, why did your teacher say something political? But I'm in cosmetology school. Whole different rules.
Yeah, so much different rules.
Yeah, so, but all I could say, and then she was like, oh, do you vote? And I said, yes, because I care about what happens to me and my body. So yes, I do vote. I vote so that a lot of my beliefs and rights can stay in place, because I want to have the right to marry rebel one day. I want the right that if, God forbid, something bad happens to me again physically, that I have the right to choose what the next step to do if there's repercussions from that. There's so many things that I have to worry about. Like, there's a systemic racism in this country, and we have a president that doesn't want to like put down and admit that white supremacy is bad. Like, he just won't say the simple words no matter what people says. And it's like, how can I not vote? Like, how can I be okay with that? And it made me so mad. Like, I almost got heated, because I was like, are you kidding me right now? But I had to check myself and be like, I'm like in class right now, not the place. But I just looked at her. I did tell her, like, you need to. And she's like, well, I know, blah, blah. But there's just so many people like that in our country. And I don't get, or they think, like, voting doesn't matter. Like, what's the point?
If anyone who protests at all this year does not vote, that is a problem.
Yep.
You can't just protest and take to the streets and not follow through and also put your opinion on the ballot.
Oh, I had people messaging me.
Cannot believe
on Instagram saying, when I had first in the beginning of debates, are like, oh, well, if you're gonna vote, you're part of the problem, because if we need to all just not vote, and then the system will be fixed.
No, if you just don't vote, then all that's gonna happen is it's gonna remain exactly the same. It's gonna get worse.
Yeah, and obviously Biden is not anyone's real first choice.
Him.
But at the same time, and I know a lot of people have a problem with this, they're like, you saying, like, the lesser of two evils is part of the problem. Yeah, it is a problem. Guess what's a bigger problem? The fact that we're a two-party system. And yes, it sucks. I'm not ignorant and being like, everything fine and great, Biden, blah, blah, all this stuff. But I know that the Democratic Party is going to stand for and push a lot of the things I believe in.
Social issues.
And it's going to be better off in the long run, because we have the house or whatever, like, eventually we gotta hopefully. Hopefully.
But yeah, I think that it's really a place of privilege that you can come from to say that you're going to choose not to vote, because there are so many people that would love to vote that literally can't. So what do you think about people who say, like, I choose not to vote? Like, all those reasons that says, like, oh, my vote doesn't count, or I'm just, contributing to a bad system. Like, what are your arguments against them?
I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like, well, if you don't think it matters, then why don't you just go ahead and try? Like, I don't know. I think it's not going to hurt just doing it. But that's just, like, the easy way. It's just like, oh, if it doesn't matter, just do it then. But I just feel like, what's your proof that it doesn't work? Like, I just don't understand.
Well, because people have the argument, because the Electoral College is super fucked up.
Yeah.
And so even though, like, for example, Hillary won by number of votes, but then because of the Electoral College, she didn't win. But so there are people who are saying, I don't really need to vote, or I'm going to vote as a write-in. I'm going to write in someone else's name.
Oh my gosh, I swear to God, if people write in Kanye West.
Do you remember when people wrote in Harambe?
Harambe, yes. I remember that, and being like, are you
like, a vote for a third party or a vote for some random write-in is a vote for Trump.
Yep.
Period. Like, that
like,
is
if you're
the
gonna
way
be like,
it works.
I'm going to vote for, what is it? Is it not Green Party? What is it?
Is it the Green Party?
I don't know, but there's, like, one that always gets, like, a good chunk.
Yeah.
And you're like, thanks a lot.
Yeah. And people who saying, like, oh, I can't in my heart, like, I don't like Trump, but in my heart, I can't vote for Biden. Like,
so I'm just not going to vote at all.
I'm just not going to vote at all. That's a place of privilege that you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because what's at stake at this election is so much more than just, like, taxes.
Yeah.
It's like so much more than that. It's human lives.
Let's not forget that trans people were banned from being able to serve in the military during this president's stint in the White House.
Yeah. Let's not forget
that he passed laws that you could refuse service, that businesses can be like, no, I will not help people that are queer.
Let's not forget that, like, there are children in cages because of ICE. Let's not forget that they are literally forcing women to have abortions and forcing sterilization on women. Like, let's not forget
that they made Black Lives Matter, or not Black Lives Matter, sorry. Let's not forget that they made Antifa, which is not even an actual group, it's just people that are anti-fascist, a terrorist group, but still not KKK.
Let's not forget that President Trump thinks that it's okay to, quote, grab them by the...
There's a lot of issues. Let's not forget that he had people smoke bombed and tear gas, all this stuff.
To
just
take
for
a photo with a Bible in front of a church.
A church, where she didn't even go inside and couldn't say what his favorite part of the Bible was. So let's just remember we need to, like, play these little, like,
this
cuts
stuff
of everything
is
bad.
not the norm. And we have become, like, we're getting used to it. And this should not be what is happening from a presidency. And so we're just adjusted to all of this terrible nonsense. And any of those reasons are reason enough to be like, get him out of here.
Yep. I don't know. I just feel like you can't really... I'm sorry. What I really thought of the first time, like, when I didn't vote and I didn't push harder to vote, I thought about how hard it was to even be allowed to vote as a woman. How even harder it was to be able to vote as a Black woman. You know what I mean? And it's just like... Thank God you can hide your queerness so queer people that weren't female or of color could vote for a while. But it's just like, there's so many things and there's reasons why generations fought to be able to vote. And I think it's like a smack in the face to our ancestors to not vote. Like, there's a reason people risk their lives to vote. And we're just, like, taking taking advantage of it. Yeah, taking advantage of it. Like,
or like
taking it for granted. Oh yeah. We're just taking it for granted.
Yeah. Now you might be thinking, why did I tune into this podcast to listen to these two people rant about Trump and about voting? What gives you the authority to tell me to vote or not? What would we say to them?
Because we're American. We live in the same country as you.
We don't have any more authority than anyone does.
Every vote matters. That's the only thing we can say. Like, I think everyone's responsibility, and especially people that have a platform, is to share this information and to push things that if you just know are right in your heart. Like, how can we have a platform and an audience and not talk about serious things? Before we even started this podcast, I put up a poll and I said, hey, like, what should we talk about? These are the list of things we're going to talk about. And several people messaged me and said, nothing political, please.
And that's not why we made this podcast. We didn't make this podcast to be censored, so here we are.
Like, politics are in everything we do.
Our bodies are political.
Yeah, and
our existence is political.
To say that, like, I just hate when people are just like, well, why does there have to be politics? Like, I remember when there was that one skater and people were talking about, like, abortions and stuff, and it was a lot of people in the skate community that have Instagrams that have their right to talk about their beliefs on abortions, whatever that may be. And this woman went on a whole tirade in the skate community about shut up and skate. We don't care about what you do and all this stuff about how, like, skating's just fun and let's just talk about puppies and rainbows and yay, roller skating. I'm sorry, there's too many things. There's a war going on about what's allowed with our bodies and what's allowed with like Black people being killed and so many other things. So I can't just shut up and skate. Sorry.
Yeah, like just because we put on, and this is something that we talk about all the time, but like you don't put on skates and then immediately stop existing within the real world.
Yeah. Which is why we're in the real world right now.
Yes, we're in the real world right now. So that's what we're talking about. So.
Oh, Bowie has a lot to say about this too.
Bowie is like, wants to be a part of it.
He's like trying to jump on my lap.
He's like, can I please vote? He's like, I vote for whoever gives me the most treats. I vote for endless water. And I vote for more pets.
What if, like, I picked up Bowie and then he was, like, with a MAGA hat on right now. And he's like, yeah, vote.
Oh, my God. That would be...
We're like, you're going to the adoption center.
Oh, my God. No.
Oh, boy.
No. Okay. And then also, I think it's really important to say that just because if you have differing views than us, doesn't mean we think you're any less of a person. We still think it's very important.
Friends that don't agree on the same things I do. And there's certain things that it's like we can still have a friendship with. And I think it's not to be like everyone has to be 100% on everything political. But there's also certain things that are political that are just like, I gotta cut it off. There's a line. There is a line. But still respect people. Hear them out. I'm all for a good debate or like to hear people's sides because you have to understand why people believe in the things they do to understand them more.
They do.
So you have to understand why people do what they do, not only to like better understand that person, but to have a better like argument back for them. And like, it's weird. Like sometimes if I hear someone that's like says something total opposite of something I believe in, then I'll be like, oh, tell me more why you believe that. And then I'll drop some facts I have. And then you'll notice that the wheel starts turning and they're like, maybe I don't.
Because you want to know why? It's because we all have these things called echo chambers. So like, for example, the internet just makes us even worse. But within your own life, you have probably surrounded yourself by people that you agree with. And this happens to everyone. It is not exclusive to the right or to the left or people who don't belong on either side. It is just a thing that happens. The algorithm of every social media you have just exacerbates this problem. You just see things that you agree with. You don't see things that you disagree with because they want you to stay online for longer. So they keep feeding you the information that you like to engage with, that you like, that you comment on, etc.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes there is a whole other side to the story that you haven't even heard yet. And unless you engage in respectful conversation with people that you don't agree with, then you're never going to be able to understand how many different sides there are to each thing that exists out there, like each topic.
Yeah, that's why I think like not everyone can be 100% Republican or 100% Democrat. There's things that you pick and choose and you believe in from both sides, and that's okay. And not like there's got to be a common ground. There's always a common ground. And don't just be so blind and be like, oh, you're a Republican, get out of here. Because that's why the Democrats have some Republicans on their side right now.
In my opinion, Democrat, Republican, it's all bull. We should all just be working to better our country. And the line that's being drawn in the sand is just dividing people and dividing families and dividing friendships. And I hate it.
Yep. And we got to remember a lot of the Republicans are only supporting Trump because they want to make sure that a Republican is the president. And I think we got to go back to not being so black and white with everything. Like, hey, sometimes you can vote for the other person just because they're better and more professional and know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people voted for Trump because it was like, I'm a small business. Well, yeah, it was Drain the Swamp, and then it was also like, I'm a small business owner, and he's going to look out for the businesses and like all that sort of stuff. And like I saw someone I saw an interview with someone that was like, my business has gotten 4 times more profitable under Trump's reign. And he was like, oh, what do you do? And he was like, I'm a debt collector.
Yep, debt collector.
And he was like, oh, okay, so it's good to be a white debt collector in Trump's America.
But, so, just
Anyways,
go ahead and vote.
Get your voice heard, yeah.
Educate yourself. Vote. Make sure you're registered.
And don't just vote and, like, look up all the stuff about Trump and Biden. Also look up all the stuff about the local measures because those are super important. Your representatives for your county, your representatives for your state, the measures that are being passed in your state or not passed, those actually have significant impact on your life. Remember, like, for example, weed, not federal. At the state level, like you using plastics or not using plastics in your state, also something you vote for at the state level. So there are a lot of things that you can have direct impact on that you may really care about. Like if you care about global warming, or if you care about recreational marijuana, or you care about all these different things, you can actually have a big impact on that because sometimes those actually come down to a handful of votes. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. And so it's so big. It's not just presidential. It is also directly applying to your life, even if you are a white cisgendered straight human. It still impacts you.
Yeah, so party like it's 2001 and rock the vote.
Rock the vote.
I don't know if that's actually the year it came out, but let's just say that.
I don't know when it was, yeah, but that's okay. All right, that's the real world. Let's move on to the wheel world.
Woo! Calm down, Bowie.
Seriously, Bowie.
You act like you're dying. It's not even that hot in here tonight.
Okay. It really isn't. It's like chilly.
All right, we're going to talk about some cheapskates.
Cheapskates. And what we mean by cheapskates is not well made.
Yes. Like, not all cheapskates are horrible. Like, they can get you started.
Not all low price skates are cheap skates.
Yes.
But most, yes. Yes. Not all low price skates are cheap skates, but many of the low price skates are cheap skates. And even some of the higher price skates are cheap skates, but it is a scam. So watch out.
Have you been scammed?
I've been scammed at many a time.
I know, but you haven't been scammed skate-wise yet.
I haven't been scammed. Yeah, skate-wise, I have not been scammed yet.
So, like, we're talking about skates like Impala, Angel skates, and Chicago's, but the plastic
The OG Chicago's. Some of the random skates that you can get at Walmart and Target.
Big Five.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get good skates at Big Five.
Random skates like the C7 that nobody's ever heard of.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, first, it used to be able to be like, if your skates are under $100, they're dangerous. That's just right away. We used to be able to say that. But now that skating's booming, people are like, I could just charge this much, and people are going to buy it, which we talked about when it came to used skates. But apparently,
companies are now doing it in a larger scale.
Yeah, and we only know of one right now that we're going to discuss.
So let's talk about Angel skates.
Oh, but Angel must be innocent. What would an Angel do? Oh, the Instagram looks so cute. They even have like black people on it, and everyone's painting their skates, and they look so inclusive and so positive. What could Angel skates have done?
Guess what? So there's a site. It's called Alibaba. On Alibaba, you can essentially buy anything as long as you have a certain amount of that thing that you are buying. You can pay to put a brand name on it and then sell it as if you have a company that is that specific thing.
Already sounds suspicious.
Super sus. So, what Angel skates are? Angel skates, you can actually get any of those skates off of Alibaba. And those skates are, at the most, $40-something. Granted, you can't necessarily just buy one.
$47 for the little skater that wants to buy these skates.
No. Like, if you wanted to go on Alibaba, you technically could if you wanted to buy like 5 pairs of these skates.
Okay.
But what this person did, we don't know exactly who this person is, but Angel Skates is just a lot purchased from Alibaba, and they paid to have Angel Skates logo and design just thrown onto the box. And they're shipping out these $40 skates for $300.
Wow.
So these random people that are not connected to the skate community at all saw that this was like a opportunity for people to make some money, and now their profit margin is larger than any profit margin in the entire skate community. Like, no small business owner who is selling skates is making I don't even know what profit margin that is. What is $250 worth of a profit margin for each skate? I don't know. So that's what's happening with Angel Skate, and I just got a pair because I wanted to try these bad boys out.
Yeah, and also it's not $300 like you're buying the skates for $300. The skates are like $130, $165.
Oh, that's good.
It's not $300.
The top of the line ones, someone said were.
Okay.
But that's good. Okay, that makes me feel
But
better.
on Instagram, they have 19.6 thousand followers currently. And their Instagram's like aesthetically pleasing, and they have like models wearing them, and like people are like rolling around in them. But
the plates are made of plastic. That is not safe.
like plastic.
Like that, not nylon, plastic. That is incredibly unsafe. So if you're going to be doing any sort of like hardcore skating at all.
Also, the toe stop looks hella sketch.
The toe stop looks the same as the Impala toe stop.
Yeah,
to me.
but
like it feels the same.
Yeah,
because
well,
it's a bolt-on.
That one's sketch.
It's not my favorite, but it's the same as the Impala ones. But yeah, so that's just like one example. But like, okay, so if you're gonna talk about other low price skates, so there's a lot of controversy about this because there's this whole thing about like allowing access within the skate community to skaters or people who want to skate but don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why if you end up with these skates, that's okay. For, I guess, like, if you want to get started, but I think you need to do your research first. Like, no one's going to judge you if you have these cheap skates. It's like, I get it. Like, it looked like a deal. You got them, you have them. But also, like, maybe you don't suck at skating. Maybe it's because your skates are shoddy and
they're not working with
and
you.
We don't have the information for it. Because I feel like I've seen skaters that used to go to the skate park in Impalas and they were falling apart on them or they were falling a lot. And then come to find out it's because Impalas were always like mounted wrong or like one wheel was like not touching the ground.
And were never supposed to be park skates.
Yeah, and the toe stop
all.
wasn't, but they were marketed to people like park skates, and then that caused a lot of horrible things.
Yeah.
Just like how people were getting Chicago skates and then like falling because when they would try to do edge work or carve, the wheel was touching the plate.
Wheel was touching the plate.
Or not the plate,
boot.
the
The boot was touching the wheel.
Yeah, so it was like people were falling and getting hurt, and this is like worse than even a plate breaking. It was just like complete, like I can't even just turn. Like it was just crazy, or like boots lifting from the sole.
Yeah, or like the heel. Yeah, the heel not touching the.
And then like customer service like not responding about it, and it was just like all this stuff going on, and I feel like this is stuff that people knew 2 years ago or 1 year ago. And I think like the veteran skate community knows, but like new skaters or new soon to be skaters don't know the wrongs. It's
hard because every time, like anytime I try and talk about Impala or talk about any company that is selling a low price skate, but I feel like the product itself is shoddy, I get called out for not being inclusive to like class. And that's the issue, is because people, anytime we speak out about these companies, we get called out and told that we're not being inclusive to new skaters. We're trying to explain to you that, like, you need to be aware of the quality of the product that you're purchasing.
It's not us being classist. It's not us doing you dirty. It's these skate companies doing you dirty. Because it's the fact that you don't have a skate available that will do the job for you. So that's not the people telling you, like, hey, don't get those. We're not trying to be like shame you for not being able to afford something. We're just trying to
shed light on the situation. Like, we've been around for a while. We know what's going on, and we don't want these people to trick you.
Yeah, and it's like sucks. Like, yeah, I'm an affiliate for Moxie, so I'm sure people are like, you just want to push Moxie. No, because you could get some Sure Grips. And then they're like, well, that's over 100.
The Sure Grip Fames are awesome.
Yeah, and there's like,
they're awesome.
I'm sorry, and I know like someone's like, well, I can't, like, it's harder to save $150, and I'm like, but if you were able to save $100, trust you can save a little more,
and that's gonna last you years longer than an Impala will.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, your skates fell apart, or like now they're like scraped so that I can see my toe because I took these like cheap skates to the park, and now I gotta buy another pair. So you're spending another $100 every 4 to 6 months versus like skates that'll last you years and years. So yeah. I think, like, it's just something I think for, like, even if it's just, like, asking your friends and family to come together and, like, give you it as a gift or whatever, like, sometimes it's worth waiting till you can afford something that's higher quality. Yeah. Because there's a difference between skates that are made overseas and skates that are made here quality-wise, or skates that are leather or not leather. Like, whether are they going to last you? Are they more sustainable?
There's also a difference between some of the factories in China versus other factories in China.
Yeah.
So the quality level, like for some skates, is the same quality level as, for instance, Disney gets their stuff done, or Apple gets their stuff done at certain factories in China, versus the lack of accountability, which also is sometimes like child work and all of that sort of stuff. And so it's important to just kind of know what's happening with your skate production companies.
Also, like, who's making your skates? Like, is it a major skateboard company that knows nothing about roller skating but saw that their roller skating was trending, so was like, yeah, I'll make a roller skate, and had no roller skaters test this product or anything? Or is this a company, like, grassroots built from roller skaters that know what they're doing, that have slammed on these skates, tested them, and knows, like, what a roller skater does and what needs to be right on it?
Yes.
So really, like, look at where it comes from and how it was made. Ask the questions. Reach out to people you see in the skates. Like, sometimes just Google, like, the skate name, and if it's problematic, and that stuff will pop up.
Yeah, it'll pop up.
Yeah, so I just know, like, there are options out there, and I know it sucks because everyone wants to skate, and not everyone has the money to.
And not everyone can get access to, like, nicer skates right now because things are on
Yeah,
hold.
and then things are sold out, but
know that, like, skates are coming. Like,
yeah, skates have already started to come.
They've started to come already. Like, it's going to get better from here.
Yeah, the drought is ending.
It is ending. It is almost over.
It's raining skates.
Hallelujah, it's raining skates.
That's the sound of my wheels on the car.
I loved it.
But yeah, just do your research. It sucks. Like, I know it's super easy to be like, go down the Google and be like, roller skates for sale. And then whatever pops up and you're like, ooh, $100, ooh, $60. Or even now we know $200. No, do your research
Just
first.
do your research, yeah.
Yeah, because you don't. And it sucks. I'm sure, like, there's going to be some skaters that, like, I know some actually that have upgraded to, like, a better brand. And then it was like, wow, like, it wasn't, so much better. It wasn't me. It was the skates.
Suck, yeah.
I didn't suck.
And it is true, like, your roller skates, they're not just, like, random, like, wheels slapped onto a boot. Like, there's a lot of science and a lot of different things
I have a good
analogy.
Into it.
Okay.
So if I want to be a NASCAR driver and I want to, like, go super fast and do all this cool stuff, I'm not going to just get a hoopty off the street.
Yeah, you're not going to buy, like, a Kia.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like, got my Kia Soul, let's hit the track.
Yeah. But But if you're learning how to drive, maybe that Kia Soul is going to work for you.
Exactly.
But you have to know that in order to eventually become a NASCAR driver, you can't keep that Kia Soul.
Or, like, if you were like, hey, like, even it's like, I kind of got the money, but not that much, like, go ahead and get the cheapskates. And if you're like, I don't know if this is for me. And if it's like, I'm just going to be, like, skating in my driveway or up and down the street, and that's all I can do right now. And then if I realize I'm getting better, then I can spend the money for an upgrade. I think that's a cool thing to do, too. Like, because I know a lot of people are like, dropped all this money and I was like, this is totally not for me. Why did I do this? And then they're like, oh, I'm asked out like $300 or $200 or however much you spent versus like going ahead and get a cheap pair. Because I didn't let myself get derby skates, which were more expensive than my lollies until I passed fresh meet. Too. I was like, my reward is that I'm taking roller skating seriously so I can get my second pair of skates. And that's when I made the move to get like my Jackson boots.
Yeah, I mean, I started with my like basic ass roller skates for derby, and I didn't let myself upgrade until I had made it onto home teams, and then I didn't let myself get like an outdoor skate until a year in when I knew I was going to skate outside. Yeah.
So, I don't know, but just do your research, y'all, and I hope y'all stay safe on your wheels, no matter what they are.
Question everything, 2020.
Question everything. Hey, people making roller skates, make sure you make things that are more attainable financially so that roller skating is not so...
Yeah. You know. We want roller skating to be accessible for everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Woo! All right.
That was the wheel world.
Time for 2 girls.
1 pup. We've been pretty ranty today. Let's get a little pup in here to break up the energy.
We're becoming the ranty podcast.
I know, we're trying not to, but Bobo, it's just
he
happening.
Stopped panting because he fell asleep. I don't want to disturb him. Come here, Bobo. No. Come here.
Hey, Bowie, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to 2 Girls, 1 Pup.
Woo!
You can see if you're watching the YouTube that he has his costume for the day on. It is a skeleton. He has this cute little hood thing that he hates and keeps trying to shake off of his head.
His little ear
But he's just so darn cute. Darn tootin'. So darn cute.
Tootin'. So, my whole life... Whoa. He just popped down.
Whoa.
He's tire pup.
He's a tired.
Okay, so my whole life I've been around dogs. I've had dogs, and I always was envious of all my friends that had dogs, big and small, that would just like walk around without a leash. Like they could open the door and not worry about this dog jetting out. They could walk to their car. Dog just jumps in. Like every dog I've had is like a runner. Just zoom right away, and I'm just like always very cautious. Had bad things happen because of that, and it's just like and Bowie, we finally found out, like, we'll just like walk to the car without a leash and so be so good.
So nice. I've always thought it was like a little bit of magic.
Yeah, and then like I even got like to the point where I could walk down the street with him, and like, because we don't really have like other dogs in the neighborhoods like that, so it's like I always looked first to make sure, and like my car is super close, and he would just like go to the car and jump right in, and then all of a sudden he decided.
The other day we were going somewhere, I think to 7-Eleven, because we're slevin sluts. Slevin. And then what happened, babe?
This fool, like, he was super pumped. Like, he was like, no, you're not going. And then opened the door, and he jetted. I didn't even know he could move this fast. He jetted out the door, and then, like, he's kind of, like, gone outside, and he'll hang out on the patio, but he took off across the street.
He ran across the street. He's never done that.
Thank God he had to pee on a tree.
Yeah, I ran and caught him.
I was like, babe! And then she ran and got him, because I was just like, what the heck?
Like, this hoe.
Like, he was just like, I'm going to Slevin or I'm running away. Like,
yeah, I think he was under the impression that we weren't going to take him, and that's why he ran.
Yeah, but it was just scary because he's never, like, ran into the street, and we live, like,
We live by a busy-ish
Yeah,
street.
like, it's kind of close. So, if, like, when people fly around that corner, like, they wouldn't have time to brake. So, like, it was just, like, scary.
Super scary.
And I was just like, are you a runner now? So now I feel like we have to be, like, super, like, make sure he sits and stays before we leave. And it's just, like, now I can't just, like, have him come outside with me real quick to the car. Like, are you just going to keep running? The trust has been broken, Bowie.
Yeah. So now we're doing a little bit more training on him.
Yeah.
We're, like, trying to do a little bit more separation anxiety training because we feel like that's probably what it stemmed from, is this concern that he wasn't going to be with us.
Yeah, and then now, like, when he knows we're coming, he used to just bark, and now he's clawing at the freaking door, and he's gonna mess it up, and I'm like,
so now we're having him sit, and we're not giving him attention until he calms down.
Yeah, I don't know. Life's rough being a pup, huh, Bobo?
It's rough when it's 2 girls and only 1 pup.
It's okay. I have separation anxiety, too, and abandonment issues.
That's why I always have to walk with her to the car. And make her sit when I come home.
What?
Ew, no. Ew, take that back. Cut that. That's weird.
I'm not editing that out.
No.
That is staying.
No, that's being cut. Please cut that. That's weird.
You're weird, babe. Everyone knows.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, so that's 2 girls, 1 pup.
That's 2 girls, 1 pup. Thanks for hanging out, Bowie.
Thanks for not running.
Thanks for not running away. Next up is our Dear Shovel. Okay, welcome to Dear Shovel, our part of the podcast where we answer your questions in a horrible manner and also in a great manner, but mostly horrible. Okay, this skate date question says, hey y'all, I love the new podcast. Thanks, Catherine. My question, I broke my ankle about 2 months ago and have been on the mend. I am extremely excited to one day get back on skates, but do y'all have any tips for overcoming fear post-injury? I am a very fearful person, thanks trauma, and I want to carefully balance knowing my limits and pushing myself in regards to skating. Thanks, lovely folks. Lots of love, Catherine.
Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you, Catherine, for sending in your question. We really appreciate it when you send in questions.
Oh my gosh, injuries. I've never had a break. I've had a really bad sprain that I was told I would have been better off if it was a break, but because it lasted so long, you can't really do surgery on it. Also had a really bad fall on my knee, which I got x-rays for, and then that sucked.
Right. Yeah.
I've also had staph from a fall. And it got infected from a knee pad, and then I couldn't skate or barely walk. So I've had some things happen where, yeah, it was hard to get back out there afterwards.
Yeah, I have fallen on my tailbone really, really bad. I think I chipped my tailbone, actually. I have hurt my wrist really bad.
Your wrist was
my
the
wrist
worst.
was so long. It like kept me up all night, like many, many nights. And I fell on my knee really bad one time. Remember when Dulce like threw me at Derby?
Oh, my shoulder when Rambo lifted me in the air and I slammed on my shoulder and I couldn't even sleep.
So bad. And then I also had my toes break, but that wasn't really skate related. But it was at RollerCon, so I feel like it's skate related.
Yeah. So
advice.
Advice is it's really hard, I feel like, to do the same thing you were doing when you hurt yourself.
For sure.
Because, like, I feel like it's nervous enough to be like, okay, I'm back on my skates. Especially, like, for me, I started skating again when I was still in pain. Don't recommend that.
Yeah.
But I was hard-headed, and I did. But you just have to, like, I feel like when it comes to doing the exact same thing, like going down something, like for me, trying to carve scares me, like a sharp carve, because I, like, went down this thing and I caught, like, speed that I didn't think I was going to, so it sent me super up a transition. So I was like, I'll just do a sharp carve. And when I got to the top at 0 gravity, I literally fell from the sky and slammed to the bottom and landed, like, on the inside of my knee, and it slammed and I felt a click, and I knew immediately, like, uh-oh. And I just laid there, and someone was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. And then, like, I was able to skate out of the bowl, like, I don't even know how, and then get back. But, like, as time went on, remember, it just, like, swelled up, and it was to the point where I couldn't even get up and down the stairs. Like,
yeah, it was bad.
It was horrible. And, like, to this day, like, when I think about doing, like, a real carve, like, I'm scared. It took me a while to even do a wide carve. I just had to do, like, baby it and go slow and just try really low. But I think I'm still, like, nervous that, like, the same thing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I think when it comes to post-injury skating, I think it's about really, really being one with your body and really listening to your body and paying attention to the feelings and things that you're experiencing. Because being confident and reuniting yourself with your body, I feel like, is the number one way to really have a smooth path forward. Because once you are able to be confident in yourself that you know, like, when your body is like, nope, that's it, then you can stop before you feel overworked or you are, you know, re-injuring yourself or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
I definitely agree with that, because there's little things you have to do. Like, there were days, like, when I was like, I think my ankle's better. So I would put my skates on and go to the back and, like, do a little jump and then, like, land, and it'd be so painful. Like, sometimes I would be like, let me try it in my shoes first before I put my skates on. And kind of devastated, because I'd be like, oh, it's still not good enough yet. But every once in a while, you just have to fill it out and do little things. Like, what can I do now? And then also, like, falling. I notice, like, people I have, like, helped with skate lessons before will be hesitant to do certain things because they're like, oh, I've had a knee injury before, an ankle injury before, so they, like, won't do a knee tap, or, like,
they're like, scared to fall on it again.
Yeah, because, like, I can't fall on it, and then I have to do did the doctor clear you to skate? And then I'll be like, yes, like, usually, and then I'm like, well, if a doctor cleared you, you're probably okay, it's just mental, and you just have to do it. And, like, not until you fall on the thing, like, say a safe, like, on purpose fall, until you fall on it, will you realize, like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah. I definitely had times where I had to, like, pull myself out of derby practice or, like, take some time for myself and either ice or heat my knee. Yeah. And it's important also to know what the go-to recovery is for your knee, like, or your knee, for whatever injury you have. So, like, there are some injuries that stretching is great for it, and there are some injuries that stretching is really bad for it.
And they also make, like, gaskets and things that you can wear that will help while you're skating. So that way, if, like, your injury kind of weakened that part of your body, that you can prevent that, or, like, using
KT tape,
CBD oil, or cream or whatever, ointment. There's just little things you can do to kind of help, like, if it's, like, warming up before you start skating. So, like, you can look into prehab after you finish your rehab.
Yeah, prehab is actually really, really great.
Yeah.
Doing different things to strengthen the rest of your body, and then especially that area.
Yeah, but it's really just a mental block, and it's just gonna take you a while. Like, some people can get over it fast, and some people might take months, some people it takes a year. It just, you don't know, especially when you have, like, trauma built up from it. And you just gotta remember that you're your own worst enemy, and it's mostly just you stopping it, and no one's gonna pressure you into doing it. So if you're not ready, you're just not ready, and that's okay. Like, you'll know when you're ready to try, and baby steps.
I recommend finding other people who have also been injured and talking to them, getting that community, because if you just talking to the general skate community and, like, you're talking to people who don't understand what it's like to have an injury as serious as yours or what that recovery time is like, then they might not be that sensitive to your experience. But when you're finding community with other people who have been injured because of skating, then they're going to be able to relate to your experience and give you personalized things that worked for them.
Yeah, and it's really hard to I feel like while you're still healing, like, to feel like you're a part of the skate community, especially if it's something that keeps you out for months, because everyone probably is a skater, and they're all still gonna keep, like, life doesn't stop for them when, like, you have an injury, so they're still going out and skating and going to the skate park, whatever it might be, and it is gonna be like a sort of depression that follows. That happens to everyone when they're hurt. Yeah. And you just gotta remember to keep engaging with skaters and, like an injured skaters club.
Yeah, for sure. And there are plenty of injured skaters out there that you can commune with.
Definitely.
I hope that advice helped, but I think that we should give some bad advice to Catherine.
I'm not good at bad advice, as I'm a Capricorn.
Okay.
I am like a professional advice giver that everyone should always listen to.
No, definitely not.
I give you so much good advice, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
I've made your life so much better.
You have, but not
advice.
Because of the advice. Some of the advice is really great that you give, babe.
Go ahead and give horrible advice, which is usually just your normal advice, babe.
That's so nice of you. So then my advice for you, Catherine, is that you should watch a bunch of videos of people getting injured on skates. That's going to help you feel better.
Okay.
What's your advice?
My advice is to just break something else so that you won't feel the pain and of the other thing that's healing, and that way you still have an excuse to never have to worry about facing your fear of not skating. Just keep breaking things and you'll be fine.
I think that instead of that, you should just get a bunch of like things to help with different injuries that you don't have and just wear them for a long time and then take them off to make you feel like you've healed. So, like, put your arm in a cast for a while and then take it off so you can be like, I've healed. You have full recovery use of
horrible bad advice.
Yeah, all of this is bad advice.
No, like, you're bad at giving bad advice.
No, I think I'm hilarious at giving bad advice.
So, yes, you should totally do all of those things.
Do all those things. And thank you so much for sending in your question to Dear Skate Date.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this section of Dear Shovel. Please do not hesitate to send in your questions to Dear Shovel because we're running out. We didn't expect to go through questions so fast. So please send us your questions.
No one cares about what we have to say.
Who cares? It's just part of the podcast. Okay, so
and you could totally put just like, I would like to remain anonymous if you're afraid that, like, I just don't want my business out there. I need advice, but
you could be like, sincerely, person with the fear of clowns.
Yeah, and then we'll realize, like, oh my gosh, babe, we need to talk about the clown thing.
Oh, yes, we do. Okay.
So we got an amazing email because last episode we were talking about, like, we don't understand clown phobias. And we're like, if you have a clown phobia.
We feel like this fits into the Dear Shovel portion because this is what we were talking about last time.
Yes.
Okay, check it out. So this is Courtney, not this Courtney, another Courtney responded and said, I've totally gotten past my fear of clowns, but mostly other than the creepy factor, as a child, I was really terrified. It all began at what I believe was my 4th birthday party, where my uncle dressed up as a clown and he came to my birthday party. Feels normal so far, right? Check out this twist. I don't know why, but I thought that a clown ate my uncle and then took on his appearance. I thought that said killer clown came to our house as my uncle to eat us. So I ran and hid in the closet and cried until my aunt found me and had to explain to me that it was just my uncle dressed up. I don't know why I thought it was something so extreme, but that's the mind of a child for you. Oh my God.
That's amazing.
That makes so much sense, though. That would terrify me.
I wonder if, like, you would have the same fear, like, you know how, like, people's, like, dads will dress up as Santa Claus and be like, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, and they're like, Santa ate my father.
That's hilarious, but also, yes, so good, so good. Anyways, that makes sense why you would have a clown phobia.
That like, email made
my day.
So good.
So good.
ate my uncle. Out of the mouth of a babe.
Out of the mouth of a babe. All right, that is Dear Shovel. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Skate Date.
Another one in the books.
Another one in the books. We wanted to shout out to S, cherry emoji, rainbow emoji, tree emoji, for leaving us a really sweet review on our podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Thanks, emoji.
Thanks, cherry emoji, rainbow emoji, tree emoji. You are so sweet, so colorful, and so green and full of growth.
Aw, that was beautiful, babe.
We appreciate you. We love you so much.
Yeah, so make sure you leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
If you leave a review on Apple Podcasts for us, we will be so stoked and we might shout you out in our next episode.
Definitely. Also, by the time this is posted, you might see on our Instagram that we're having a little giveaway.
A little giveaway.
Yeah, so there will be a post, and if you go and like it and comment on
and share it and tell your friends about how great our podcast is, then you might win a little something.
Yup. So go ahead and see what it is.
And it maybe or maybe not involves these little guys.
Oh, they don't know what they are if they're listening.
Skate Date Podcast coasters. They sound like this.
Oh my god. Can you not?
Okay. Anyways, so we love hearing from all of you. So please send us all of the notes via our email. Our email is for Dear Shuffle submissions, dearskatedate@gmail.com. And for other business inquiries, in case you want to have us make a fake ad but a real ad for you, then it is skatedatepodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks, babe, because my mind goes blank every time when you have to say them.
That's why I did it.
Thanks, babe. I guess I'll be forced to go on another date with you next week.
Yay! I'm so excited. I love skate dates.
Help me, I'm trapped.
Whatever. Get out of here. Thanks for listening to the Skate Date Podcast. We love you so much. We hope you have a wonderful day and that you take care of yourself and that you wear a mask and that you drink lots of water and that you go to bed at
and
a
that
time
you're
that makes you
registered to
happy
vote.
and that you're registered to vote.
But yeah.
Bye.
See you next date.
See you next skate date.
Bye.